Hi there, it's Nicole here today with a card featuring my favorite things, and I have used Distress ink to color in all the florals as well as the background on this card. To start, I am using the My Favorite Things Dynamics Fresh Cut Flowers, and I'm die cutting them from some smooth white cardstock. Several of these dies are really teeny tiny, and you can see I've left them together. It's going to make it a little bit easier so that I don't lose them and just to hold on to them. I'm going to try to lay out as many of these pieces as I can and die cut quite a few all at once. I will need a few additional pieces that I can die cut once I get all of these cut out at least one time. There are lots and lots of pieces in this die collection which make it perfect for creating a bunch of flowers. There I just trimmed up another stem using my little snips scissors, wire trimmers that cut them apart easily, and I'll run those through the machine. And then I'm going to just pop all of these out, lay the pieces to the side for a minute, and die cut the rest of the florals and stems and things that I need to complete my card. I'm going to grab the Ranger craft mat now, and mine is well loved. You can see it's got a little bit of staining and things there, but this is going to protect my work surface while I color in all of these white pieces of die cut paper with the Ranger Distress inks. This is the Twisted Citron ink. I'm using the mini ink blending tool to color in these stems. I'm going to color them all the way in with the Twisted Citron ink. And I'll do this for all of the stems. And I started doing this for the little round flower centers as well. But I am going to change that color of green to a little darker green with the Mowed Lawn Distress ink. Now once I have those all colored in, which I love this color, it's a nice bright green color, I'm going to grab that Mowed Lawn ink and kind of dab it on the edges of the leaves. I'm going to quickly color in those flower centers. So just on the leaves, I'm going to take the Mowed Lawn Distress ink and dab that in place. And darken those up just a little bit. As the ink dries, it is going to kind of smooth out and it won't look quite as bright and vibrant as it does now. It's still going to be bright and vibrant, but it won't look quite so splotchy. I guess that's what I want to say. Now these little pieces here are going to be the ends of some flower buds, so I colored those in with Mowed Lawn ink as well. This is the Fossilized Amber Distress ink. I'm going to color in a couple of the flowers with that ink. There's 3 different styles here. I'm also using the Abandoned Coral Distress ink. And I'm just simply pouncing on that color, and then I'll let that kind of sit and absorb into the paper. This is the Picked Raspberry, and these are all the little buds, little flower buds. I'm going to color those in with the Picked Raspberry ink. I'll also color in or add some color to one of the white flowers with that ink as well. Go back to my Abandoned Coral and color in a couple more, and I even added a couple of additional flowers too. And I tried some with the Seedless Preserves, the purple you see in the top of the screen, but I didn't really like it, so I ended up die cutting another flower and coloring in a couple more of the yellow with the Fossilized Amber instead. So there are those green flower centers, and I just didn't like them with the colors of the flowers, so I'm going to pounce on a little Mowed Lawn Distress ink on top, and I like that a lot better. Now for the background, I'm going to take a piece of Tim Holtz watercolor cardstock. This is already A2 sized, so if you want, you can just simply attach this piece of paper directly to your card base. I am going to trim mine down just a little bit once I get my color added. I'm using the Cracked Pistachio Distress ink, and I'm applying it with a mini ink blending tool all over the panel, and I'll blend all of that out. Really good. I'm leaving a little bit of it lighter because I definitely don't want this to be perfect. I want it to end up kind of having a watercolored feel to it. keep getting finger marks in it, so I am blending it out just a little bit more, and then I'm going to spritz it with water all over the surface of the watercolor cardstock. And you can really see the ink starting to run. I really saturated the paper. I wanted the ink to run and kind of move and play a little bit and give it a much more imperfect look. I'm even going to pick up the cardstock and kind of help move that ink back and forth a little bit and help it be a little blotchy. And then I set it aside to dry, mostly air dry. Near the end I got impatient, added a little more water there. And so I hit it with my heat tool to really speed up that process. Then I die cut that frame using a stitched rectangle from the Dynamics Blueprints 15 collection. And there I have my nice background. I'm just smoothing it out a little bit with my fingers. And then I have a die cut panel that I created using die cutting some vellum using the vertical stitched strips. It's a little longer than the panel, and that's okay. I'm going to trim that up in a little bit. And I've also die cut the word grateful using the My Favorite Things Dynamics Words of Gratitude dies. And I'm just added some little dabs of glue to the back of this word, and I'll attach it right to that vellum strip. And I'll use an acrylic block that's kind of nice and heavy to hold that down while the glue dries. I'm going to be tucking these flower stems back behind the vellum strip, and that way it makes the greeting in the forefront of the card, but you still see that little peak of green of the floral stems peeking there behind the vellum. The vellum just helps make the greeting pop a little bit more than it would if you just stamped it directly, or not stamped it, but adhered it directly over those floral stems. And then I'm going to go ahead and just put all of these flowers together. And I'm using a combination of the zig glue pin for the stems and then some glue dots for the floral pieces to attach all of those to the card. I want all of the stems to either line up or hang off the bottom edge of the card. And then I can trim that up once I have everything in place and right where I want it. So I'm going to go ahead and attach the rest of these really quickly. As I'm working, I'm laying the acrylic block kind of on top of these pieces to help hold them down until the glue dries. It dries very quickly, so it doesn't take much. It just kind of helps flatten them out and keeps my fingers out of the way so I don't accidentally pull anything up. I love how it looks like a grouping of these really pretty, vibrant flowers. Perfect for the summertime. Go ahead and make sure I like how that's looking. I want some of these little buds now to kind of overhang, or at least one of them to overhang the vellum strip that's going to be the greeting strip on the card. So I'll attach the two that aren't going to really hang over it, and then this final one I'm going to make sure that the glue dot is only on that top edge that's attaching to the stem so that I can tuck my vellum strip underneath it and it slightly overhangs the greeting. I'll attach a couple more stems and flowers to finish off all of those pretty florals, and then I can finish my greeting strip. I'm going to add just a little bit of white pen detail to the centers of the flowers. Give them a little bit more interesting detail there. And then I'll take my vellum strip, which I have not attached yet, and using the Thankful Thoughts stamp set from My Favorite Things, I'm going to stamp the words "So Very" using Versamark ink and then heat set that with some white embossing powder. Once that is embossed, I can go ahead and attach it to my card. And I'm going to use those little dabs of glue, hiding them back behind the die cut word and the stamped and embossed greeting. So I'm going to kind of generously apply those little dabs of glue and then slip that under that flower bud. and attach it right over that grouping of flowers on the background. Again, I'm going to use an acrylic block to hold that down just for a couple minutes while the glue dries. Once the glue dries, I'm going to attach some sequins there. Those are from Pretty Pink Posh. And using some little mini bling glue dots, and attach that to my white card base, and my card is finished. Thanks for watching this video showcasing my favorite things and Ranger inks. The supplies I've used are listed and linked below the video on YouTube. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you next time.